Good evening, everybody. I know it has been a while, and that's why you are going to get several videos this week. um, I first want to say thank you all who normally tune in um, and get what you need from God, right? Um, but today is I wanted it to be a light message. It's simply one that we should all appreciate normally around this time, and to also think about those who are not able to do this. So that's why today's video is all about family time, which is another reason why I have not been here because I have been spending time with my family. To, Today is December the 26th, and I have thoroughly enjoyed my family. Um, Not because it's Christmas, because we always to get together, but this year and maybe because we just celebrated my mom's 80th birthday, so I got a chance to spend time with my aunts, my mother, my sister, and her family, and my extended family, my extended siblings, and it was just great to spend quality time with family. And I recognize that not everybody is able and capable of doing that. I have other friends, I have friends all around the world. And one of the things that I have often talked to them about is the fact that, we, well, not we, well, yeah, we can talk. But when it comes to their family dynamics, they don't have that. They don't have the connection. Um, Hold on, my mom was calling me, so I'm just letting her know. They don't have the same family dynamics. So there are some families who are not as connected. And so it let me know how blessed I am to be able to connect with my family. There are some families who are disconnected because of family disputes, and then, just life separates people from their families. And, and then there's, things, situations that come up, and family members depend on family members, take advantage of family members. Those things are real. But when you have a family that you can genuinely lean on, and then they can trust you, that is a blessing. And it doesn't matter what happens, like you can forgive each other and continue. Um that's that ultimate love. And yes, I do understand that it depends on how you're raised, right? I do understand that parental dynamics do play a role in family connections. And so even with that, I even got a chance a few days ago to spend some time with my father's sister and a few cousins there, and just catching up about family, the types of things that we're doing, the fact that they were doing a study on our family, and some other family members didn't know that. So, just catching up genuinely and spending quality time with your family. That's what the holidays are mostly about. Is a time to separate yourself from the office or whatever your job is, and to spend that quality time, because we're I don't know why every time I get on this topic, I just always hear something like the sands of time. Like, we're limited on this earth. We don't know when a loved one is going to pass. So, as often as you can get together and commune with each other, you should. There should be a time when you can put aside your differences and your disputes for the ultimate goal for the family, right? And the ultimate goal is that you are a unit. when what they say, what's the saying? A house divided within itself cannot stand. Same thing goes for a family. When your family is united, you have strength, you have unity, you have different gifts and talents working together for the common goal, right? You have the support that you need, the love that you need, the encouragement that you need, and that is fine. But when you don't have those things, I see what it does to people. People feel so alienated. People go into depression. People suffer in different ways. They turn to drugs and alcohol. And, that's why we have a lot of people that have makeshift families. And it's okay because, God also grafts us into his family. But God also tells us, that we should love our neighbors as we love ourselves. And how can we love our neighbors if we can't show that same love for our families? And yes, I understand families can rub us the wrong way sometimes, but at some point you have to forgive. And the Bible says you should always forgive. You should never hold on to unforgiveness, right? Forgiveness is for you, for your healing, so that you don't continue to hold on to a meaningless situation. Because I do know some families who don't talk to each other. I do know, I will not acknowledge that person if we're in the same room. And you have the same DNA running through your veins. In the good words of my friend Andre, make it make sense. you know, and then of course also living outside of our family, we go through so many things, so many people, so many places, so many events, so many what have yous, right? The world is constantly coming up against us, constantly. And sometimes the only people that can pour into you is your family. You can have friends, but your family, there's so many times when I've talked to cousins and it's like, you know where we come from. You know what grandma and granddad instilled in us. You know how strong our family is. You know how resourceful our family is. Don't do that. Don't do that. And and it's important because so I have some friends in Africa and we're always talking about their family dynamics and they always enlighten me because over there they have the thing where the oldest son takes on the family. The oldest son becomes in charge of the family. The oldest son is the one that divvies out the resources, gain the resources for the family, and everybody else live off of those resources, right? And it's like, so if y'all don't have that family dynamic, it almost it kind of forces the family connection, right? Because it's like you don't get your portion if you're not connected to the family. It's although it's forced, it works because what the oldest son brings is that stability once the father leaves. It is that connection that brings the family together because in order for you to get your portion, you have to be connected so you can understand when and where and how it's going to take place. And when you're not connected with your family, when you don't have that family time, when you can't be vulnerable with your family, that's the time that you know that you have to shift some things. You have to get out of yourself and have some real conversations. And yes, I know family does not like to have those real hard conversations, but sometimes in order to fix the problem, in order to fix the wounds, in order to for the healing work to take place, you have to address those hard things. Those things that people don't want to talk about. Those issues that people want to sweep under the rug. You cannot longer sweep them under the rug because those are people's truths. Those are people's lived experiences and their lives. And you just can't act like it didn't happen. Just like you can't say, "Oh, well, well, great grandma died and she's no longer here, but it's are we gonna act like that she didn't die?" No, ma'am. No, sir. Because you don't get a chance to love on them the same way. You don't get a chance to fix that plate for great grandma and send it up to her room like you used to. Like you don't get a chance to do that anymore. So don't do that when it comes to situations that people have. You don't want to act like that didn't happen to them. And stop believing outside of the family. If someone tells you that something happened to them by another family member or in the presence of other family members, don't just discredit them. Talk to them. Help them go through it. If it's therapy that they need, help them find a therapist. Help them find something to help them get over that. And I'm not saying like get over, oh, you need to get over it. No, so that they can actually work through it and get past that situation so that they can move on with their lives. Because so many people lives are held up by these situations that they become stuck. The best example of this is Beloved. Like, and I never would have in a million years thought I would use a Beloved reference. But for those who've watched the movie, and if you've never seen it, still watch it, even though I'm about to give you a spoiler alert. So we all know that there was the baby that died years ago, right? And her spirit came back as a grown woman, and she was still acting as if she was that child. That is what happens to people when they go through traumatic events and are made to be silenced. They grow up in age, but mentally and internally, they are still the age of when that thing happened. They become mentally stuck. They don't mature. They don't get a chance to mature. They don't know how to mature from this simply because this thing has traumatized them to the point where they are internally damaged. And that is nothing that you get over with by by anything physical. It takes, excuse me, y'all, for moving the camera, but it takes some healing, some true bona fide healing, some true internal healing that where the healing takes place from the heart. And when that healing can take place from the heart space, baby, you will see how the person can transform. You will see how that person can live their life in spite of. And sometimes, there's even like when people say watch your children and watch how they act around certain people, something happens and you don't know about it, but all of a sudden your child start acting differently. Start paying attention to the child. Why, when, and where did they start acting differently? When did they start dressing differently? Does their attitude change around a certain topic when you do certain things around them? When you go to certain people's houses? Pay attention to those things. That is a part of things that some adults have missed, and the child has suffered through it until adulthood, until they are able to handle it. But if we recognize and start to see the signs now, okay, now my child start acting different when I drop them off at Auntie so and so's house or Uncle so and so's house over the weekend. Okay, tell me what happened. Don't leave nothing out because you're starting to act different, and I need to know why. Who did what to you? I'm on your side. And sometimes you can't come up at them that brash. It's like, okay, sweetie, like I'm starting to notice some things differently that you're doing. Just let me know what happened. It's not your fault. I just need to know what happened, you know. And we also have to create that space for the kids. We have to allow the kids to understand that, you can make a mistake. But if it's something dealing with the livelihood, I want you to feel comfortable enough to come share that with me. I want you to let me know if you all got into trouble and you can't figure it out. Like, I don't want you to carry this burden by yourself because you might make things worse. How many television shows have we seen where we've seen that? Baby, Pretty Little Liars was my favorite television show, but it stressed me out. It stressed me out because when you had teenagers trying to navigate a murderer for years and they never was able to come to their parents, and then at the times when they did start coming to their parents, they had discredited themselves by not coming to their parents first. And yes, although it made for good TV, in reality it makes for poor judgment. It makes people look like, what is it, the boy that cried wolf. In fact, I think that was actually one of the titles, The Boy That Cried Wolf, right? And so it's important to understand your family dynamics, not just who the person is to you, but how people present themselves, how to understand, know, and recognize when something is off about somebody, how to understand how someone's body reacts to certain things. I have some friends right now that said they will not allow their kids to do sleepovers. And that's sad because we've come to a place in society where we have to be that way. We have to be strict. We've come into a point in society where kids go to the lake. And I'll say it could. I'm gonna throw out a number. It could be 8 kids that go to the lake, and only 7 come back. What happened to the 8th child? Oh, but we don't know what happened, and they died in the lake. But the child doesn't know how to swim. The child wouldn't go in water with us all 16 years, but they're gonna go in the water with you all. That doesn't sound right. And we have to teach the kids, what does bullying look like when people don't mean us well. What does that look like? We have to go back to teaching people how to use their intuition. I know that's taboo for some folks, but you teach somebody how to use their intuition, aka discernment, and you teach them how to know when the enemy is present. You teach them how to recognize when the devil's plan is amongst them. But because they have already quoted that no weapon formed against them shall prosper, the devil's plan does not prosper against the child. And I know this is kind of going to another topic, but it goes with family time. It goes with teaching the kids discernment, how to use their spiritual eye, how to hear from God the correct way. Nobody taught me that as a kid. I learned to hear the voice of God by doing what I do most, connecting with the spiritual world. That's another story for another day too. But the thing is, when we spend time with each other, we pass down this is taking a turn for how I did not expect it to. So um it's not all over the place. But anyway, um this is how family traditions and family practices get passed down from generation to generation. Now, if Big Mama told you, now, honey, right before a thunderstorm, I get in my room and I get on my knees and I pray to God and I read Psalm 77, and I'm just throwing out something, right? And I read Psalm 77 2 times. Well, maybe it was something in it that Big Mama did. And maybe she started that trend, right? And let's be clear, not everything works for everybody, right? But if you teach the family how to get down on their knees and pray before a big storm in their life happens, right? Because it don't have to just be a physical storm. Somebody might interpret it, okay, well, I got a big case coming up and I want the judge to operate in my favor. Don't give me let me get on my knees and pray. And it might not be Psalm 77, but baby, let me turn to Jeremiah 2 and 6, and maybe that'll work for me, and it'll give me instructions, or maybe Genesis 12 and 5. And we don't know what scripture that the Holy Spirit will give somebody to read. But the thing is that they have the knowledge that I need to pray and read my word. And I know some people would say they should do that anyway. They don't, but let's be real. Let's be real. Some people don't automatically think that way in an emergency situation. People are prone to, as I like to say, freak out and have these fits and just like, and go into anxious attacks. But the family is where we learn how to settle our mind, get before the Lord and pray, get before the Lord and hear what the Spirit is saying, right? That is how we are able to make things happen on the behalf of our family members. Because remember, Big Mama will probably also pray down that whole list of family names, everyone, one by one by one. I know my grandmother did. And guess what? When she passed away a few years later, we had so many people in our family to pass away because there was nobody to call out that person's name while they were praying. And although they knew that prayer works, let's face it, we have family members that are just not there. They don't know if they prayed, that they could get a prayer through. But that takes family encouraging family. That takes building that foundation, that trust, so that when family are going through things, hey, I'm going through this. Like my mom is known as the auntie that I have a cousin that says, I swear she has a beeper that she got Jesus beeper number. She can beep him and he'll come right on through for us. And and that's the thing, like, and she tries to teach the family how they can access God for themselves. Because it's not hard. It's not hard at all. But sometimes people need that reassurance and they just feel like I can't get my prayer through the way you get that prayer through. But if you connect and you connect often, you will see the things that you are thinking are so secretive are not so secretive at all. You can get the answers to life. You can get the cheat codes to life. um, and it all starts with connecting. Even the body of Christ is known as basically like a family. That's why we use the term brother so and so or sister so and so. And really, if you really think about any religious aspect, we all have that same sense of terminology. And we may not say necessarily say brother or sister, but it's almost like it's implied, right? And it's because we are being grafted to one another, whether we are physically family or just by association. We are in our spiritual DNA. We have been grafted together. Where we recognize one another, where we commune with one another, where we encourage one another. And there was a few, I've had a few friends that I've been disconnected to for years just because of life. Nothing bad happened between us. But life carries us to different places. Excuse me. And both of them have passed away this year. And it's been like one of those wow, like they played a major part in my life when I was going through some things, and they poured into me. And they're older. They're older. And it's like they poured into me so beautifully, and I will always carry that because that's what I do for others, right? And now they are on the other side of life. And although I can't see them physically, I can celebrate them, and I can do what they've done for me to other people. But I should first be able to do that with my family. I should first be able to be that person to talk them through some things, to pray with them through some things, to have that faith the size of a mustard seed on a few things, right? And as I do that, I not only grow spiritually, but I help them to grow spiritually as well. And so I just want you all to know it is safe to connect with your family. Don't be so dismissive of family that you miss out on beautiful opportunities to connect with each other, that you miss out on having beautiful relationships with your own family. Because again, I'm talking to people who don't have that, and you can hear the emptiness and the longingness for it. Like I told several people in my where I live, around where I live, and I was like, "Yeah, what are you doing for the holidays?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm just gonna stay home. I'm just gonna be by myself. I'm just probably watch TV." And I'm like, "Oh, you're not connected with your family?" No, it's just gonna be me. And then they ask me, "Well, what are you gonna do?" And I'm like, I'm gonna spend time with my family." And it's almost like I was, I'm not gonna say scared, but it was like I was like, should I even tell them I'm about to spend some lovey-dovey bonding time with my family? I don't want it to seem like I'm rubbing it in their faces, but that's my reality. And I've had several people that try to contact me on the phone, and they're like, "What are you doing?" Like, I'm with my family. It's family time. Like, we've been watching movies, we've been eating, we've been bowling, we've been enjoying each other's company. We have been communing with each other. So let's not forget family. And this is coming up on a new year. Maybe for some of you, this is the year that you get that fresh start to start over fresh with your family. With family, they always say, think about your roots. Your family is what grounds you. It's what helps remind you that you are family, that you all came from the same stock. You all have the same DNA, even though I know there's several different variations of of personalities and characteristics in the family. Trust me, I know, because I know, I know. That's all I'm gonna say is I know. But that doesn't mean that there isn't something where you are alike, even with that estranged cousin, even with the cousin who refuses to come to church, but drinks all night long and parties all night long. It doesn't matter. There's a piece of the same DNA in them that flows also flows in you. And y'all both y'all grandmama's babies, so don't even do that. Although I hope me and my grandmother were like this. I can't speak for everybody else, but me and my grandmother was like this. Okay, that Thelma Page Burnett, that's my girl. Even on the other side of life, there's some days I just sit and talk to the sky. Grandma, what would you have done in this situation? Grandma, I wish you were still here to make me them banana biscuits. Grandma, I'm sure she's on the other side, like, boy, stop calling my name. But me and her were that close. And sometimes I can just sit and I feel her presence around me. I feel that same presence around me as if she was still here. And I'm just like, everything's going to be okay. Also, another story for a later date. But please, people, during this time, and it's not too late because we're still a few days. Um, Let me see, what, 5 days until the new year? 5 days until the new year. Well, technically four because this is kind of late. So it's close to being 4 days. So I'll just go ahead and say it's 4 days into the new year. You still have 4 days to make it right with your family members. You have 4 days to connect with your family members. You have 4 days to just send out, hey, cuz, sister, bro, auntie, uncle, I'm just thinking about you, grandma, grandpa, right? I'm just thinking about you and I just want to tell you I love you. Thank you thank them for whatever they have done for you, right? You know better than anybody else what your family member has done for you. But love on them at this time. It is family time. And even if it's a makeshift family, don't just automatically assume, oh, well, my family know that I love them. Tell them. Send that text. Send those pictures of them kids. Let them know how you're doing. Spend that quality time with them. If you're in the same city, I know families who they live in the same city and don't see each other. I can do it. I don't know what that's like. I don't know what that is. I was raised differently. And yes, I do know. We still can put up boundaries with our family members, but that does not mean that we get a chance to disrespect each other. It also doesn't mean that we cut off family to the point where we can't get past ourselves to say, hey, we may not talk like we should, but I love you. We may not see eye to eye all the time, but I remember this when we were growing up. And just share those memories. I'm also thinking about, I believe it's this Christmas, the one with Danny Glover and Monique and Gabrielle Union, and I believe it's that one. But either way, it's a prime example of getting past your family issues to connect with family and the importance it is. It's so important because, again, we're only up here but a short time. No matter how long your short time is, it's still a short time. Because think about it. All the babies who was born just a few years before my grandmother's death, they only had that much time with her when I had a lot of time with that lady. To sit at her feet and to listen to her sing, to listen to her play the piano, to watch her cook, to watch her fish, to watch her garden, to watch her plant her flowers, to watch her water her gardens, to have those experiences with it. And those are things that I will always remember. Oh, I'm going back to my childhood. But I want you all to, again, connect with your family during this time. And if you're watching this after the New Year's, you still have time to connect with your family. In fact, you have a whole new year to connect with your family. So, no excuses. Connect with your family. All right, you all, as I always say, don't try to be, don't want to be, don't think about doing it, don't think about being it. Just be blessed. And you all have a good night. And again, you will get another video from me before this week is out. So, see you then. Good night.